The power had been with you all along. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Trey Michael, and this is another segment of Applied Consciousness. I want to say I passed my test. No. Let me say this again. I passed my test. I want to tell you what I have been dealing with the last 2 days. I don't want to go too deep into the story, but I'm just going to give you a synopsis of what was stressing me out. First of all, nothing was stressing me out. I was allowing circumstances to control my reality. But I passed the test. I was dealing with burning down an old system. And it was simple for me to burn it down. Now, let me explain this system. In this trucking industry, we have these people called brokers. And these brokers, what they do is they connect the trucker to the customer, and they make the money from the middle. Now, society's norms call this just typical business. But the problem was these brokers, the only thing that they had that the mass majority of the truckers didn't have was the knowledge of what was the going rates that the customers wanted to pay for the trucker services. And as I always say on my Applied Consciousness YouTube channel and my Applied Consciousness podcast, is that knowledge should be free. Let me say that again. Knowledge, not should be, but knowledge is free. So when I began to tap into infinite intelligence, the gift to be able to directly take your mind into where God or the universe or source is, and it gives you the answers that these brokers were hiding from the truckers. Now, I say hiding not because that service was not a good service. It was just that they were taking the mass bulk of the money. So when infinite intelligence, when I dived into my infinite intelligence, it gave me the answers to how to make sure the people at the bottom, the truckers, the people who own the trucks, who pay the insurance, who have tires to fix and who are struggling uphill battle just to make ends meet for their families. When I tapped into it, I had the ability to know the numbers for myself. Excuse me, man. It's like every time I get on here, I got the hiccups or the burps. And I had an opportunity to be just like the brokers that I have scoffed at. To be just like the brokers who have been saying, well, this is America. This is economy. This is economics. I should be able to take what I want to take. There's no limit on what I can take. And I made it the honest decision to say, I'm not going to rob those people who lack that knowledge. So what I was doing was I started to give back the bulk of the money to those that actually have earned it, to the people that put the hard work in to supply and demand for the customers. And by doing so, the universe has opened up a floodgate to allow tons and tons and tons of companies to come subhaul with our company, Chemist Solutions. And it felt liberating to hear men and women who are business owners to say, thank you. I was running these same rates and you're paying me almost $1,000 more than what I was making hauling for these other brokers. And the test came. And the test came in a form of human beings. I won't go into detail because I don't want to offend anyone. Human beings that I believe walk the spiritual walk. Human beings that I believed understood the stories of Yahshua or Jesus. People that I thought understood the walks of Martin Luther King. People that I thought understood the messages behind Nelson Mandela, behind Gandhi, behind all of those light workers that came before me. I had perceived that the people that I was placing my counsel upon would be with the vision. And my test came in the form of not being judgmental to those that wanted to steal, take from the people that God gave me the ability to help. And I felt myself in a place of judgment. I mean, it got to the point that I literally was in my garage just cursing, man, just so angry, because I once used to be that person at the bottom. I once used to be that person that is fighting tooth and nail to pay the bills for my trucks and to pay my employees, and fighting with my wife hand and foot. And my perception told me that these people, no, not these people, would try to entice me to take more from the people that God gave me the ability to liberate. And how I beat this test came in the most auspicious way. There was a gentleman that used to be my youth minister, my children's church minister. He heard my plight. He heard me being angry about these people that were coming in to offer services to what I thought was to help the vision, but were actually, in my perception, there to find a way to middleman the people again. And he said to me, Trey, you've told me about the racist. And I told him, yes, the racist lacks the knowledge, was installed into their subconscious minds by their parents, that black people are inherently bad, or white people were inherently bad, or Asian people were inherently bad and they were beneath them. And he said that you have sympathy for the racist. And I do. Over lifetime and living, I've had sympathy for them. I have a better opportunity to talk to a racist person, to re-persuade their minds, to reshift their consciousness, to understand where they go wrong in their belief systems. And I was good on that, and he referenced it. But he said, Trey, did you ever know that some people that walk what you call the spiritual walk have also been guided by parents or industries or businesses, that they think that taking 60% or 50% of the money is just business? And when he said it to me, I'll be honest with you guys, my ego was so here. It was more of a spiritual ego, right? Not a fleshly ego that I wanted something for myself, but a spiritual ego. How dare these people that claim to be followers of God and the light, you know, do this or attempt to do this to the people. And I really didn't hear that gentleman that works with us. I couldn't really hear him because I was so enraged and my mind was so distraught that I couldn't really hear him. But the message came home, and it came through when my Uncle Kenneth, shout out to Kenneth Michael, I forgot the name of his ministry. He's actually, he has a church, and next time I'm gonna put it in the comment section, his ministry, and go check him out on Facebook. They post Sunday sermons. And my uncle said to me, Trey, to much is given, much is required. He reminded me that although I am on my conscious walk, on my spiritual journey, there were things that were processed into my life as a child from my grandmother and my grandfather, principles that I carry on to this day. To know that I'm like Robin Hood. I'm here to help the poor. I'm here to help those that lack knowledge. I'm here to help those that have been through gang stalking. I'm here to help those that just don't know. He said, but Trey, and it was funny because he repeated the same thing that the gentleman that works with our company now repeated to me that I couldn't hear at that time. He said, Trey, sometimes even people that walk the righteous path have been programmed through their subconscious mind things that do not correlate with their righteous path. And although you believe, Trey, they were saying this to me, although you believe that they truly are mentally focused on doing wrong to people, he says you need to make sure in your heart before you cast judgment to those people or that person that was coming, that they really know before you say cast judgment. And I dealt with that all last night, you guys and ladies. I really did. Because I'm a person that believes that when you have power, when you have the ability to do something and you do wrong, that heavy is the head that wears the crown and the weight needs to fall on your shoulders. And when those people, and I judge myself the same way, do others the same way that we prayed to God to free us from, I really had a hard time with it. So what I did was I stayed up all last night, and when I went to sleep, I focused my attention on saying, all things are one. I focused my attention to say, it's not just the poor people that deserve help. It's also those that are well off. It's the same lesson that I learned when I was being gang stalked. That although these people had power or perceived power, that I had to show love to them. And because of that, when I had my meeting with these people, I was very firm on explaining to them that my business structure is to assist those that need help, assist those that lack the knowledge, that can help feed their children and their children's children, and that can create a legacy for their families. And I kept in mind when I heard the gentleman speaking about how they could still get more money from the people, I had to tell myself that maybe this gentleman lacks the knowing that what you considered right, although society, although the government, although the legal system says that that is right and that's just business, does not give you the authority or the power from above to take from those that need it the most. And because of that, it seemed that the business meeting worked out fine. The gentleman did not get what he thought he was coming to get, but I believe that I planted a seed in the soul of the man, and it's giving him the opportunity to reprogram his subconscious mind. Because although I thought that the person and the people were probably just inherently wicked and they knew that they were doing wrong, the more that I spoke, the more that I took judgment out of my heart and realized that I was seeing myself when I lacked the knowledge. I was more temperament. I was more calm. I was more receptive to listen to his perspective. And because of it, I didn't go in and make myself look like a butthole. I passed my test because I understood that if I am going to be the light, I must even be the light to what I perceive to be the darkness. I'm saying that to say this to you all today. There are people that are in your life, and you could even be the people that I'm talking about, that you may perceive are just inherently wicked. And I know it's hard to say, so you're telling me that you're whipping my back and you think that this is not bad? And I'm here to tell you that in this reality, the subconscious mind, whatever you program it to believe is truth, there are some human beings that hold on to that as if it were the truth. And when you are truly a light warrior, not a worker, because the workers probably don't have the patience for it, but if you're actually a light warrior, as I claim to be, as I am, then you have to hold that light regardless of what it looks like. Because the only way the darkness will ever be able to conquer the light is if we choose no longer to hold on to being the light. And there are circumstances in this reality that you're going to face, just like I am facing on an everyday basis, that will sometimes test your light. But sometimes it's those tests that actually make your light shine brighter. And it's these tests that help us expand our consciousness. And it's these people that God places in our lives that sometimes it's our job to be the bright light to conquer the darkness so that they can come out a small light and begin to expand their light until the light fills every corner of this reality. And then we can go into what I like to call the fifth dimension. It's one that lack no longer exists. It's one that poverty no longer exists. It's one that hatred and bigotry and envy and jealousy no longer exist. But I'm here to tell you now, it's never going to come unless you and I choose to hold that light and pass our test. Those tests will become bigger and bigger as you grow. But you need those tests just as bad as those tests need you. Because every time you pass it, you get to go to the next level. You get to pass it and go to the next grade. And I'm sharing this with you today because, listen, even I, and especially me, I'm talking even I mean, especially me, I falter and I fail on a day-to-day basis. The only difference is I get back up, I brush myself off, and I say, today I'm going to succeed. And it feels good to succeed. It feels good to know that I passed my test. I beat the judgment today, and I'm going to have to face it again tomorrow. And when you face it, and when you pass the test, and when you know that you held your light, you held onto that light that can change this reality. When you do that, then you're just going to say, woo! The power had been with me all along. Live, love, laugh, and be the change that you are seeking in this reality. Peace.